Let's go. I'm in.
Welcome to another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 30-year-old from Cardiff, Wales, a staple and legend with under 16 Cardiff Celts. In 2 seasons, in 14 games played, had 0 points and 92 penalty minutes, folks. But he is best known for calling a clean blue line and breaking up all the kerfuffles around the EIHL. And I'm pretty sure I was playing in his EIHL debut where he came out of the crowd a couple pints deep to put on the stripes in 2014 in the big blue tent, but I could be wrong. Welcome to the shed, James Irons.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be in the shed.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming, man. And am I right? Was your first debut in the big blue tent and you came out of the crowd mid-game?
Possibly. Yeah, well, I guess it's done now, so we can tell the story. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was years ago. It's 2014, right? Nobody can be upset. You stepped up for the team, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was Morton who got injured that day, and then it was, if I remember rightly, it was midweek against Brayhead.
Oh, I wouldn't know things like that.
I don't think I'll forget it. Yeah, and then it was we were in the crowd, so rare day off for a couple of us. I stood with a couple of other officials, and the guy I was stood with, Steve Matthews, he was in Nottingham the week before, so got kind of the same sort of treatment. Someone hadn't turned up, so he got to have a go. So we figured out it was my turn. My kit was nowhere near the arena, if you can call the tent an arena.
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful arena. It was.
So we had to drive across Cardiff. And meanwhile, so we get to Cardiff. I was still living with my parents at the time. So I bust through the door, find my kit. I'm in the back of the car with a...
You had to go get your kit in the middle of the game once you got injured?
Yeah.
So How much of the game, how long does that take? You must have missed a bunch of the game. We didn't just stop, did we? Like, when did he get hurt? The start of the game? Go.
Right, so there was a period break that we missed. And then I think maybe 6 minutes of the third period.
So you came in with about 6 minutes into the third period?
Yeah, maybe a little later than that, but I'm thinking that's not far away. Meanwhile, we've been driving, breaking numerous speed limits across Cardiff. My buddy was driving, Fezzy, whilst I'm in the back of my car, like clambering around, putting all the kit on. So we're driving through the centre of Cardiff, like real fast, and there's just me dressed in full gear in the back.
Stripes on.
Anyone that saw us must have thought.
So why such a rush though? Why didn't they just keep going with 3 guys? Why do you need the 4th? Do you have to have the 4th?
Nah, I think the rush was with me a little bit.
Because you wanted your big break. You wanted to get out there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So how was it then when you got out there on the ice mid-third period?
Actually,
do you have the nerves like when the guys get called up in hockey?
No, I was 6 beers deep. I had 0 nerves. I was good to go.
6 beers deep. So you did fine keeping out of the way of people and the puck.
I remember the first place I stood was by the Brayhead bench, and I stumbled, not through alcohol, but just maybe a bit of nerves. And I caught an edge, and Finna goes, "Fuck me, did you just roll out of the bar?" And I just looked at him and I was like, this guy's been watching me.
Oh, man. That's good stuff. So that's how you got into becoming a linesman. So that after that, when did you become like a staple, and when did you start being in the linesman full time?
So before that, I was working the lower leagues here. So what was then the English National League. Now it's called the National Ice Hockey League. So only 1 letter away from being in the show.
Right. NIHL.
NIHL. 1 and 2. 1's not good enough. We gotta have 2.
Okay.
And the English Premier League, which is the division just below the Elite League. That's now actually I think that's the National League now. So we have our own National League.
There you go.
What do you want about UK hockey? We've got a National League.
Yeah, you do. I thought British ice hockey was really fun.
I bet you did. And then I sort of
Well, you
just-
got linesmen coming out of the crowd 6 beers deep. How's that not fun?
It's unreal. Huh? You could definitely sell tickets to it, I'm sure. But yeah, so I was grafting my way around in those leagues, and then they were short
Okay.
another time in Sheffield. So I got a call there, and then in Coventry they were short again, so I got another call to go there. And then after that, I got to go to camp and actually get a shot at doing it throughout the season.
Nice. So
And,
as a
yeah,
couple, you were there to step up when they needed you, and then you did good enough that they invited you to the camp then.
I'm not sure I did good enough. Maybe they just couldn't get rid of me.
What's a ref linesman camp like? What happens at those things?
Actually, a lot. It's the only training we get, right? So we get maybe 2.
There's some out of shape refs, man. I could just picture what the bag skates look like for some of those fellas if you do any.
Yeah, I'm one of those fellas.
I could see Martin just ripping around, and then there'd be some heavy boys just breathing.
It sounds like you're talking firsthand.
I just see you guys skate. That's all.
It's more video and sort of positioning work that we work on. There's a lot of ref stuff more than linesmen. Obviously, it sucks, but they're a little more important than us. So there's a lot of video work, a lot of debate, getting everyone on the same page, and then we do fitness testing, which is absolutely zero fun.
Never was for players either.
And then we get drunk as well.
Right. Well, you got a bond. That's where you guys get to know each other before you. So that's one of my questions was, do you switch partners a lot? But I guess if you guys have all met each other and you're like a big team of officials, then it doesn't matter who they pair you up with, eh?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We should all be on the same page. Lots of guys work in lots of different ways. I guess you could relate that to playing. Different players have different quirks, and it's the same being an official, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, we switch partners a lot. Hicksy does a good job of keeping crews together almost and traveling, but inevitably you can't be available every weekend of the year.
Right.
So you have to switch partners. You have to be versatile and work as a team, I guess.
Right. Well, I got sidetracked there with all my questions, but so one more while we were on that was the video. So would it be like they'd show an infraction, whether or not it was called or not, and then you guys would all discuss if it should be a penalty?
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah. Makes
and
sense.
then from that, they would let the debate be quite organic.
And then we figure out what's going to get called for the year, and you try and uphold those values.
Exactly. So there'd be like one call and 10 different viewpoints. But by the end of the debate,
you got to have one.
Whoever's in charge that day, they've said, this is what the standard is, and this is what we want, whether you have a different viewpoint.
So is that Hicksy dropping the hammer then at the end of it, or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Okay. Well, okay. This is what I got sidetracked on, was how we know each other. You did come out of the crowd 6 beers deep, but the reason it caught my eye was because I had met you already at a golf tournament.
Yeah.
And I played golf with your old man, right? And he was in my group, and I won one of the years in Cardiff. I won the golf tournament because I have Cardiff Devil golf balls here, and it's because we won the golf tournament. I'm pretty sure it was with your old man. And he told me you were trying to come up to be a linesman, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever, cool. And then I met you, and then later that year you came out of the crowd and you were a linesman.
Jeez, that would have been way earlier. That was probably when I was really just starting.
2014 it would have been. Right?
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, that was my first year.
Because that's when the golf tournament was. I'm pretty sure I became a golf champion that day. You know?
Is any of this championship attributed to me? Was I in this?
I don't think you were in the group. Your old man was in my group, and Mr. Millard, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not going to give my old man any credit. That's for sure.
I think he had a high handicap. That's what, he's got a few strokes for the boys.
100%.
Yeah.
Plays off 28. Yeah. Really off like 10.
I know. Hey, we won. Winning's winning, right?
Playing with you is golden. If you're playing against him, it sucks.
But yeah, that's how we know each other. That's how you caught my eye when you became a linesman. I saw you became full time afterwards. See, Always got my eye on things from the shed here.
The shed, vantage point of the world.
Yeah. It's become quite global. 54 countries now to the shed. 54.
Really?
Yeah. 54 different countries have listened to the shed now. And I think that is really neat.
That's unreal. Good for you.
Yeah. And we just got to 75,000 listens, folks. So that's pretty cool too.
We'll get another 75,000 after this. I'm
Right.
sure.
And folks, just because you know what, you got to review your playing and decide if you played well or not. The Red Dragon Group sponsored an episode. I don't think I played good enough, so this one's on the house. This episode is brought to you by Red Dragon Group.co.uk, folks. They got cleaning services. They got everything you need. Check them out. They're in South Wales. They'll cater to your property, and they got security guards. They got the whole deal, folks. Check them out. reddragongroup.co.uk, right? There we go. 2-for-1 deal. Okay. Anyways, next question then. Where and what are you doing now?
As in right now, or do you mean in
Yeah.
general life?
Sure, all of it.
Right now, I'm sat on my mum's sofa drinking a beer, trying to dodge my kid.
Right. And so you do have a kid. How old?
Yeah, I've little Freddie. He's 2.5.
Busy times.
And I'm feeling the terrible twos right now.
Mm-hmm.
He just ran in the room, tarps off, did a lap, and then my mum accosted him and got him out of here.
Well, when my son was that age in Cardiff, he would dress like Hulk, and he actually thought he was the Hulk. And we'd walk around Cardiff Bay, and he would Hulk smash and roar at people. So, you know,
Unreal.
Yeah,
I can get behind that.
So that's why Hendo and I dressed up as Venom and Spider-Man and did it with him.
That's unreal.
Oh, that was one of my favorite days ever in Cardiff, was when one of my buddies was willing to dress up like Spider-Man and walk around Cardiff Bay with me in tights.
Unreal.
Yeah.
But in real life, I am now. I'm still situated in Cardiff. I've still officiating.
Yeah.
Right now. And then I just run a small property maintenance business on my own.
Oh, nice.
I do that 9 to 5, and then
property maintenance. So are you doing like the maintenance on the buildings, or like you have to rent them out and stuff?
No, so I do the maintenance on the buildings and get them to whatever standard they need to be. But then I also, with my partner, we try and buy and sell a few properties.
Oh, that's fun stuff.
So we're trying to venture into that. It's a tough world, though.
It is. Okay. Next. Yeah. It is. Okay. Next question then. So that's what you're doing for real life, but then you also officiate on weekends, because the officials I've had in the shed, most of them told me that the game or reffing is hard on their relationships, because it takes up a lot of their weekends and spare time.
Yeah, it sucks. So whenever
and how much you guys don't even get paid that much, right? Oh, hey, little guy, and it's you that he's got to leave on weekends to break up fights and call off sides, right, buddy?
Do you want to come to ice hockey with Daddy? Do you want to do ice skating?
Are you gonna be a Devils fan like Grandpa? I'm just kidding.
Nah, he doesn't look like he's about that now. Right, can Daddy have 5 minutes to answer this question?
What was the question? What did I ask you? It takes up a lot of time. Yeah, and like you guys don't get paid that much, really, right? For what you got.
What we do.
Yeah.
It's always the elephant in the room when people address the pay. No one wants to talk about it, but I think enough guys have come out with it now, and everyone knows we don't get paid enough. But
not for the life stuff that you got to miss to go do it, to follow your passion. Like I know the guys that are refs and linesmen, that's your passion. You love it. You love being part of the games and being out there. But yeah, it's a lot of weekends, right? Yeah,
it sucks. And I think it's a tough sell to anybody who's not an official, and I say it with respect, and generally, I mean, people in the stands, because I don't think you understand the passion until you're involved. I genuinely never thought I'd be this passionate about officiating.
Right.
And then, so it's the passion's what drives. Sorry, keep going in there. The passion's what drives us. And then obviously you get money. It's kind of expenses. By the time you get back after a day, you don't get a ton of money.
Yeah.
But moreover, it's like my little guy's 2.5. I have to leave him every weekend. So I just managed to go to football training at 10 a.m. And then by the time you get back, eat, pack your bag, do some laundry. Like, it's time to go on the road. You wake up or you get back at like 1, 2 a.m. if you're in Manchester or Nottingham, Sheffield. I did a trip to Fife in the car from Cardiff this year. That sucked.
Yeah.
And then you just goosed in the morning. So you get no productivity, or you go out and you balls out with a kid and you're crazy for the morning, and then you get to the game and you goosed.
Yeah.
So
it's a balancing act. Busy times.
And you have to balance it. And I think for me, one of the most important things is bearing everyone in mind when I decide, because we get to decide what allocation we put forward. I'm sure Hixie would have a full roster every weekend, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So you can request weekends off and what certain days, right?
Yeah. So a month in advance, we'll put in our availability.
Okay.
And then we get allocated from there. So you'll either be red or green. If you're red, you're off. If you're green, you're good to go. But yeah, you have to balance exactly what you say. You have to balance that. Make sure you're home enough, but then also make sure you're doing enough, because like you want to be there every game. Like, I wish there was some way to do every night of the week and still manage a family life.
Well, for people to put this into perception or perspective, right? Is that for players, you go on those road trips. Yeah, you'll practice during the week, but outside of that, like you go home and you're spending time with your family. Like I spent tons of time with my kids when I was a hockey player in Cardiff, because we'd be done during the day, during the week, where you guys are then going to work your full-time jobs, but you're also showing up to the games we're showing up to, right?
Oh yeah. I'm dressed in my work clothes right now. And the amount of times I've had to go this year dressed in my work clothes because I've done 10, 11 hours before a game.
You got to love it to do that shit.
Yeah, I'm not. I often question why I love it, but I'm pretty sure I do, and we'll keep going until I don't.
Yeah, I understand. And I guess I had Darnell on, right? You know him, and then I had Motton in the shed. I got lots of zebras coming in the shed here.
Absolute scenes. The boys are in.
I'd only shouted at you guys my whole life, and now I'm talking to you like adults, right? Kind of.
Funny old game, huh?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like me becoming friends with the Sheffield Steelers. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, Rosie and Dean are going to come on together. I guess Dean has a nice shed in Cardiff. They're going to come on in Dean's shed together.
Dean has bar 26. I haven't been there yet, but I've had a
I've
lot
heard
of
good
video
things.
calls
Yeah.
at 12 o'clock at night.
Well, you guys
And
got
then-
a pretty good hub of officials there, eh?
Yeah, Cardiff were very fortunate, man. Like, you probably only know the guys as in like Hixie, Dino, Rosie, but even in the leagues below, there's like a ton of guys. I could rattle off 10 names right now who are all just elite dudes.
And they're doing it too.
Yeah, they're doing it just in like low, just mostly the league below.
So is the pay that much different in the league below?
Yeah, it's less than half.
And they're doing it all too, and they're doing it on their weekends.
Yeah, exactly, and they all have families and the same commitments as me.
That's yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're bringing a depressing tone to it now.
Yeah, no, but okay. Well, then let's cheer up. Okay, here we go. So, growing up in Cardiff, how'd you get into hockey in the first place?
Growing up in Cardiff, so my father started a business when I was probably 13, 14 years old with another guy. And he was already into hockey, season ticket holder, sponsor, all this sort of stuff. And just one Saturday afternoon, he said, "Oh, I've got a spare ticket." He had a son a little younger than me, but when you're that age, you're all the same age, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had a spare ticket and offered me along. I was completely like hooked straight away. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, it's quick. They beat the shit out of each other. Like, unreal.
Yeah. And that's what happened in British hockey, right? When hockey came over there, it started growing. Like when people see it for the first time, and most people see it live instead of on television, like we do here in Canada. Every hockey you see is on television. Watching hockey live is a whole different experience, and you get hooked, and it's awesome to watch hockey live, right?
100%. And I still say this now, and I've actually done another podcast, and I said it a lot on there, and I'll keep going back to it. Like, first and foremost, before an official, before anything, I'm a hockey fan. I love hockey as much as you, the guy in the stands, the owner, the guy selling the hot dogs. I love it as much as all of you.
Yeah.
Just because we're officials doesn't mean we hate it and we want to ruin your night.
Well, and that's I always found that like refs don't go into games trying to screw one of the teams. Like they go in trying to not screw up, right?
Have to believe that we actually want to be good at our job too, huh?
Well, sometimes you guys suck. You got to let you know.
I know too.
Like, if I got hooked or slashed, I would have to let people know. But okay, here's a question for you then. If you're a linesman, how many times have you put your big boy pants on and called a major on a guy? Because those are the only penalties you guys can really call, right? Have you dished out any?
Yeah, this is actually a good story because I can't remember any from the Elite League, but it happened to me once in the league below. And there was one guy just slides his stick through his hands, butt ends another in the ribs. I see it 100%. I'm like, I've got big enough balls. I can tell the ref. I can take that on my shoulders. So I tell that. And then I just get told I was completely wrong not from the referee. He was willing to back me and he did, and we kicked the guy out. But then from like supervision point of view, they were like, that's not a butt end. And then I don't think from that day I've called another one.
Really?
That doesn't mean I wouldn't say if I seen one, but it'd take a lot of confidence from that. And yeah, it would take a lot for me to call one now because of that experience.
Right. Yeah. It's like in Germany when you talk German to some Germans and they pretend they can't understand you, but you're like, well, I'm trying here. Meet me halfway. You got to understand a little bit of it. Yeah. Or else I'm not talking German ever. Okay. Yeah, no, that I was always curious about that because you see linesmen do it, and I always thought there were certain linesmen that would do it more than others, right? I think a Lee Young would have no problem calling out a 5 if he saw it.
Oh, he'd have no problem. That guy's got balls as big as my head, so he's no problem taking that on his shoulders. I don't think there's any official that wouldn't do it, but you'll see it less now in a 4-man system than a 3.
Right. Because you got that back guy.
Exactly. So he's going to catch most things. Like between the two of them, they should catch nearly everything.
Right.
It's only something that's going to be really peculiar that a linesman's going to pick up that.
Yeah, I gotcha. Anyways, so we were into growing up in Cardiff and getting into hockey, and I got sidetracked again. But you did play hockey, right? So you watched that first game, and then did you start playing or just watching?
No, so I watched for a little bit and then nagged my parents for a stick so I could just bounce a ball around the local area. And then got a pair of skates, still remember them, CCM Vector 2s. They're probably like wellies right now with skates with blades on them. And then they took me to like skate lessons. Most people won't believe that I've actually had skating lessons. It was all at the age.
Were you pushing around a penguin?
I don't want to tell a story.
You were pushing one of the penguins.
We don't need to go into that.
No, that's fine. Okay. Never seen any Welsh people push around penguins on the ice.
It's usually sheep, not penguin.
I couldn't believe how many penguins there were getting pushed around the BBT on public skating, man.
They still have the penguins in the new place now.
Yeah. Public skating was a hot spot in Cardiff. It's not like that here. You might get like 5 folks out there, maybe a few kids ripping around. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably like going to a park and playing football would be the comparison for us, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or they have enough practices and stuff. They don't go to public skating anymore.
They're just goosed. But so then I got the skating lessons. Then we went through a thing that they used to, I don't even know if they do it now, but it was like under 14s learn to play. So you just have kind of like shinny.
Yeah.
Just that you pass it around a bit and then shooting some tiny nets. Pete Russell was actually the coach of that. So I should be a way better player.
He's really worked his way up then. Eh?
Yeah, if Pedro's coached me, I should be way better than I am. But yeah, got into the under 14s. Was terrible there, and then graduated to under 16s and was terrible again.
The Celts, yeah, it said what did I say? 92 penalty minutes and 0 points. So let me guess, you're a bit of a stay-at-home D-man, chip it out off the glass and out, or what?
I was not a D-man.
Jeez. Maybe the coach just didn't know how to use you. Were you up and down the wing, just chipping it in, chipping it out, mucking it up in the corners?
I wish I was that good. I think I was only there because someone liked me, man. I was bush. I was absolutely terrible at hockey.
Huh.
At that age, and that's as honest as I can be. I think those. So in
and that's how you get into becoming a linesman.
There you go. But at that age, if like one punch to the face or head area, you get kicked out of a game. So I don't know exactly what those penalties were. Can't remember, to be totally honest, but sounds like one or two of them.
Right. Wow.
But here's a tip: when Rosie comes on, I'd like you to discuss his penalty minutes with him.
Oh, was Rosie a terrible hockey player too? Were all you officials terrible hockey players?
Oh, would that make sense, or would it? Pretty good. Rosie,
I think Rosie'd be way too nice out there. He would play soft all over the ice.
No chance. He is the dirtiest.
I don't see that.
Oh, I really want to swear to describe him right now, but I'm trying to keep it PG. But he is horrible. He is cheap, dirty, and anything else I can describe him to being horrible.
I would have never guessed. He puts on such a nice smile, and he's polite, and he'll buy you a beer after the game. And you're telling
yeah, he's a good dude. Unreal dude.
People usually play like their personalities, though. Jeez. No, maybe there's a side to Rosie I don't know about yet. I'm gonna have to get him in the shed and find out.
Here's a story. Actually, I was probably a year and a half into my officiating career, and they played beer league. Like, this is how much Rosie just. This is not to make Rosie look bad, but just to show you how much he switches. I was about a year and a half into my officiating career. The guy I talked about earlier, who did the F1 driving home for me to get changed to do the Elite League debut, he's on his way back from Swindon to a game. He's like, I'll pop in, check you're doing okay. I'm like, perfect, appreciate that. So I'm in a one-man system, and it's like two top beer league teams against each other. Probably shouldn't have been there. Everything's fine. The only guy that's abusing me, the only guy that's like making me feel like I can't do the job, of course it is. Rosie. To the point where the other referee had to jump on the ice and kick him out of the game for me.
No.
Unreal. Yeah, Matt Rose. I give you Matt Rose, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeepers. Maybe he's just getting on his high horse because he thinks he's such a great official. He doesn't think anybody else could do the job, eh?
No, he's an unreal guy, but
I know, yeah, he's a dandy. I can't wait to have him and Dino on in the shed in their Welsh shed. Looking forward to seeing it, fellas.
That could be a lot of listens.
Okay, so next question then I got is so you sucked in under 16. We've covered that. When do you start being an official? When do you do your first course, or how does it start?
So then I guess under 16s passes, and then you get to 17, 18. You find alcohol, cars, women, that sort of thing. So I didn't play anymore. I just found living. I don't want to use the word better, but a different way to spend my weekends.
Right.
Evenings.
Then you became an adult and you're like, I want to.
Yeah. Then I kind of started adult. I'm sure every person who knows me and listens to this will tell you I still haven't started adulting. But for the purpose of this story, I started adulting. Picked up beer league. Much to my shock, I was an absolute stud and still am most Tuesdays. For sure. So tried out for the ENL2 team.
Are the other guys using sticks or penguins?
We don't need to talk about that either. No one's asking for the.
Fair enough.
Tried out for the NL2 team, got in there. Pretty sure someone liked me because, again, I was nowhere near good enough for that. Travel all the way to Chelmsford. Do you know where Chelmsford is? London, the other side of London, pretty much. Like, it's closer to France than us.
That team's came up before. The Chieftains or something?
Chelmsford Chieftains, yeah. I think Josh Batch used to play for them.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of folks in my shed. I can't keep track of where everybody's been though.
You could just get elite prospects in your shed. But tried out for them, got in the team, traveled to Chelmsford, got like 12 seconds of ice time. I still remember it was exactly 12.
This is with the Cardiff Satans?
Yeah, exactly. And then I got like 12 seconds of ice time when someone came out of the penalty box right at the end of the period. I think the coach was like, this guy's just paid fucking $40 to sit on the bus. So I got to give him something. And that's all I saw all night. And it was at that point I thought, right, I'm going to have to find something different to do here.
Yeah.
So I called time on that. I don't know. I can't call time on a career I never had. I'm just going to say I never turned up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can't retire from a career you didn't have, surely.
Well, you played one game, got 12 seconds of ice time. It's not bad.
We'll just leave it 12 for 1. And then I thought about coaching. I would have really liked to get involved in coaching in some capacity. But in all honesty, at that time, I think it's way more accessible now. It seemed so hard to get into. And there was like a refereeing course right next to it pretty much. So I was like, sure, I'll take that up. So didn't have a car at the time, hired a car for the day, drove to the middle of London. Drove to the middle of London, did the 1-day course. And, sorry.
Lunch is over or what? There he is. Hey, buddy. How are you? We haven't met any kids lately in the shed. How are you doing, buddy?
Say hello.
Hello.
Say, my name is Freddie. What's your name? What's your name?
Teddy.
There you go. Nicely done, buddy. So when you grow up and listen to this, you're going to be like, wow, can't believe I was ever that little. But it's going to happen really fast.
Right. Okay. Bye. See you later, mate.
So you do that course then, and then you can be an official. So then you start reffing games or lines in them or reffing them.
Hired the car, went down to London, did the course, and I still remember the guy was going to fail me for not being able to stop on one side. And I'm like,
you must have been a player.
And I remember, and I won't name any names on this one, and it was 2 senior guys. And one of them was active until recently. And they both stood in the changing room and they were like, maybe you'll make $600-700 a year because you'll just stay local. But chances are none of you are going to make the elite league. None of you will do any IHF assignments. I was like, fuck, deflated tires. So I'm like, all right, go home, register. It is what it is. We'll just see where we can get with it. And then lo and behold, after all that, here we are.
Yeah, worked your way up. Just got to give her.
Now I'm doing podcasts.
Everybody told me I was too short and fat to have a pro hockey career too, right?
Could be worse. Could be tall and fat like me.
Well, that's good though, man. I'm proud of you for working your way up. And when people tell you can't do shit, it's like, screw
There's nothing
you.
worse. Shouldn't ever put limitations on people. It should.
What people think they can accomplish, they got a lot better chance of accomplishing it if they really believe they can, right?
Exactly. And it's cliche, but cliches exist for a reason. And
well, you got to believe in yourself, or who the hell else is gonna, right?
My mum always believed, bless her.
Wow. Deep thoughts here today. Jeepers. Okay. So then you've been a linesman. So you ever thinking of moving over to the reffing side? Because Rosie was a linesman. Now he's a ref, right?
Yeah, Rosie was a linesman. Now he's a ref. That's correct. And that is my plan this summer. So.
Oh, really? So you're stopping both ways now?
No, I've just learned to skate backwards so I can do a 4-man system. I'm gonna switch hopefully this summer. As obviously I need to talk to the management structure and see if that's still an option. But yeah, this summer I would like to drop a league and learn to ref. I've been doing it a little bit in a couple of leagues lower. I think I've done okay. I think I manage a game okay. I probably need to brush up a lot on rule knowledge and penalty selection, but that's stuff I can do at home that I don't need to do in the game. For the most part, I think game management, communication is pretty strong. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where that takes me next year.
Well, that's exciting. So then you won't be in the EIHL as a linesman. You'll be strictly reffing then?
Yeah, I'll be reffing in the league below, and then
So you don't straddle the line and do both. It's all or nothing one way or the other.
I would imagine so, but that could be an option. So we'll have to explore that in the summer. I honestly don't have the answer to that right now, but
I got you. Too many hard questions, you know, hard hitting journalism out here. So the pay is better though for refs than linesmen too, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You already said they're more, didn't you say they're more important? Is that what you said?
That was a mistake. I'm never admitting to that.
Yeah. They think
I'm
they're
never
more
really
important. Once they put, don't be like them. Once you put on those orange stripes, don't be like them. You know, that doesn't mean you get full control of the game. Okay. Just be part of the game, right?
I'm just happy to be here. Every day I thank God I won a raffle.
Okay. So next questions we'll get into, we talked about how you vaulted into the EIHL, and that's just being ready and willing to step up 6 beers deep. That's just hockey at its finest, folks. But how about the craziest fights you've had to break up? Because when you were getting into it, that's when the big boys were in the EIHL.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure it's the craziest fight, but the most memorable fight I could probably talk about was in the league below. And it was a young lad called Carl Smith and a Warri veteran, James Galazzi. And it was a long fight. They'd done well. You say long, like a minute's long, right?
Oh,
when
man.
It's
exhausting. I'd fight for 5 seconds and I would be cooked.
I just don't fight at all because I'm not very good at it.
I was never good at it, but I got myself into them a couple times.
But this fight is going on, and Kyle was getting on top of
the young lad.
The young buck was getting on top of the Warri veteran.
Oh.
And he's doing well. And then obviously you're talking. People probably don't realize this, but like 2 guys are in the middle of the fight, and you're asking them, "Are they okay? Are they done?" And 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Yeah, you can come in now," or "No, stay out, stay out." So this conversation's taking place, and I asked James Galazzi, I'm like, "You done?" I was like, "It's pretty one way. Are you done?" And he's like, Just give me a chance, stay out." And I'm like, okay. So then we communicate that between linesmen, like, we don't need to dive in here. And then next thing you know, one bomb. It was unreal.
Hit the kid.
Yeah. I'm not sure he quite took him out, but it was just, that's memorable because it's like a veteran and he knows exactly
what he's doing,
why he was holding on and what he was doing. But yeah,
rope-a-dope, I think they call that.
It was unreal.
Yeah. So then it's probably like anything you do, right? You try and improve each time you do it, right? So breaking up fights, like when you first get into it, like, yeah, it's just learning on the fly, eh?
Oh, 100%. So breaking up fights, that's actually a good subject because the photo you use, there's me being a hero in front of 2 guys.
Trying to do it 2 guys by yourself, which isn't going to work.
100%. And the one guy, what you can't see in that picture is I've got his hands tied. So he's now defenseless. And the other guy just comes.
And they get real mad when that stuff happens. Oh, yeah.
That was a learning curve. Now, I, in all honesty, I'll try and stay out as absolutely long as I can.
Right. And that's what they usually want too, right?
But yeah, when you get a fight, and it's almost, I don't want to say there wasn't honor because there's always been a code and those guys have always been respectful and maybe some of my favorite guys. But now they seem to sort themselves out. 9 out of 10 times, you're just there to facilitate it and skate to the penalty box with them and tell them they did fantastic.
Right.
Rare you're breaking up a fight now. Scrums maybe around the net, but
Well, and
Actual-
it's weird, right? How the game's changed, and there's not that many fights anymore. But like, I went back home to watch a junior hockey game, and the kids didn't drop their gloves. They did like this weird wrestling thing, and their teams went crazy, like they had just witnessed a fight. And then the
That's not-
refs called it fighting, and they got 5 minutes. And I was like, why would a ref call that fighting? Because that was not even close to a fight. And why are the players acting like that was a fight? It was embarrassing.
Right, that is not okay. I've heard refs similar stories, not quite that, but similar. And I've had refs say, "I'm not calling a fight because they don't deserve that credit."
Right. I agree with them. Like, you got to earn a
Like-
fight.
You want, yeah, exactly. If you want that badge, you got to earn it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm never going to earn that badge, and I never want to be labeled as it.
So do you ever get punched getting into one of the trying to break it up? You ever get clocked?
Nah, I've got lucky because I've gone in some pretty dumb ways and probably should have got clocked, but no, so far never.
Okay. Oh, interesting. But what's the lower leagues like? I never saw any games in those leagues. Was there more fighting in those leagues or less? Or
Pretty similar. Pretty
yeah,
similar.
it's just a game of
Sort of
hockey,
fun.
about the same amount of fights, but they probably weren't they weren't going to have like those heavies. Like when the EIHL brought in those heavies those few years with like Westgarth, Jansen, like all of them, and they were like,
Yeah.
you get little Sam Martin in there breaking up those fights, you know?
Little eight stone Sammy Morton hanging off.
holding back Kevin Westgarth, you know?
I'm glad I was only part-time that year.
Yeah, wild times though, breaking that stuff up, I would think. But the other thing that I guess is you learn it in the camps is I always wonder how like the refs and linesmen, like how you stay out of the way so well, right? And like when to jump up on the boards and stuff. And like, because when refs get in the way or linesmen, like when you're chipping it in and you don't get it deep because it hit the linesman or something, and you like that shit pisses you off.
Hey, here, maybe that's on you. Maybe that's on you.
Really?
Well, where does a linesman stand 9 times out of 10?
What they put you in the black and white so you can try and blend in, right? So you know
No,
you're not
no.
supposed to be seen.
No, that's generally. But generally, a linesman is always going to be on a blue line, and there's 200 feet of ice. If you choose to shoot it in the 1 square foot he stood, that's a you problem, Wally. That's a you problem.
Well, so when guys are going to go hard rim it and you're a linesman, you know when they're going to hard rim it, you got to get off the wall or you're going to get hit. And I'm not going to
Exactly.
feel bad for you when you get hit. So there,
I'll feel bad for me.
it's
but,
going in hot. You better get out of the way.
but yeah, hey, listen, I know you'll probably struggle with this one as well, but none of us want to get in the way.
I know. Well, you wouldn't want to get hit by a puck, right? But that's where it comes down to the conditioning. Like there's this one fat guy in Germany, this worst ref in the league, most arrogant dude. And the guy was fat and out of shape and he couldn't move his feet. And he would get in the way all the time. But his arrogance, he just didn't seem to really care, you know? And that's what makes me think of your officials training camp, what it's like for that guy. I bet you he doesn't do it. I don't think he would have participated, you know?
Well, we don't enjoy getting in the way, but it does happen from time to time. And
you'd feel bad though, right? If it goes off you and like squirts out in the middle for a goal, right?
Hasn't happened to me yet, but
knock on wood, eh?
I wouldn't want.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't want that. So you said you had to drive to Fife this year?
Can we just break 2 seconds?
Holy moly. What are you doing now? You got to take a dump?
I apologize.
He's back.
Yeah,
he apologized, folks. I don't know where we're at. We're talking about
Five road trip.
Oh yeah, you had to drive all the way up there, eh? So they just cover your gas, but then you still get paid the same amount or what?
No, so you get paid a price per mile.
Okay.
So
bit of a hike though, eh?
Probably made bank that day, but still not enough money is worth it to drive from Cardiff to Fife and back and turn up at work at 7 a.m. the next day.
Oh, yeah. The work part the next morning, that would stink, eh?
I was working for my dad at the time. So there was no chance I was getting a day off. He's like, "You want to
No.
do the fun stuff? Pay the price."
Big boy at night, big boy in the morning, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a good motto to live by, though. Okay, so what then? You've played in Fife. Fans aren't always that polite to players. I don't know what they're like to the linesmen and refs, but they can't probably be that polite, eh?
We get the same reception.
Yeah, I figured that. What's your favorite atmosphere to linesmen in? What
As
barn?
in type of atmosphere, or
What barn? What's your favorite place to go?
Oh, so many good ones.
You know what?
So-
It doesn't even have to be about the arena. It can be about the dinner after or the nightlife. I don't know what you're into. Where do you
Okay,
want
we
to
might have
go?
we might
Where
have to
are
go-
you available to go?
I will go anywhere. Atmosphere sold out Belfast is pretty good.
Never seen it.
Like when they've got a full bowl, unreal.
I don't think I've ever seen it actually full there. Because we only played them in regular season games. Maybe we played them once in the playoffs, but I don't think it was sold out.
Only once or twice there. For nightlife, Nottingham, 100%. Unreal City.
That's why they do the playoff weekend there. Smart league.
Yeah, exactly. You know, no one's daft there.
Were you there? Were you at playoff weekend this year?
No, so I had an injury this year. I'm not sure whether I would have been selected or not, but
Were you
I had
hurt
a-
or were you injured?
I had a bust Achilles.
Nah, that's injured.
I was hobbling around for a little bit.
Right. So you're all right now?
Yeah, I'm all right now. Back to full capacity.
There you
I
go.
think. I haven't tried it, but
Not Nottingham for the nightlife. Okay. Belfast
Mhm.
sold out. I would get that because it is a good spot. Too big a ice surface though. When I'd go there for pregame skate, I couldn't believe practicing there all season long. Way too far to like do 2 laps, too far around the ice. Horseshit. I would not want to practice for that team all season because that ice is too big. But other than that, great city and everything, right?
exactly. But you're absolutely right. The ice is too big.
Way too big.
I'm too heavy, and I'm not a good enough skater to be out there having fun. I'm out
Oh.
there for survival.
You imagine someone like dumping it in and you're like, are you serious? Do you know how far you just had to shoot it? That means we have to go get it now.
You never make the chase.
Forward checking on D with full control. It make you look ridiculous. Like going in on Kelvin Elfring on that big ice and you're like, leave it. It's awful. Okay. So Belfast, Nottingham for nightlife. Okay. What about your favorite? What are you going to eat late night? Few beers deep. Are we going Chippy Lane?
Oh, Chippy Lane. If I'm gonna eat after a game, I'm gonna go to a lower league, Slough Kebab and Grill. You don't get many guys in the shed telling you about this.
Okay. The Slough Jets, aren't they called?
Slough Jets, but yeah,
The research team have seen them before, I think. Where's Slough?
Slough is, Heathrow Airport,
Yeah, been there.
just a little bit back from there.
A little bit back from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably 20 minutes, half an hour from there.
And they got a kebab shop that's good, eh? High end.
Well, it's okay. It's more burgers, but they do kebabs.
Okay, so that's where you're going to eat, eh? You got a
That's
dog?
Yeah,
What kind of dog you got down there? I can hear him.
that's my parents' dog, German
Oh.
Shepherd,
Big dog.
big dog.
Big dog. Okay. Well, who's your favorite liney to be paired up with? Let's hurt everybody else's feelings right now.
I'm okay with that. Danny Beresford is probably one of my best friends, and
Confirmed
Grumpy.
shed guy.
no way, Danny's coming in.
Yeah, well, yeah. Whenever I get time to fart here, it's been pretty busy. But yes, we have discussed he is coming in.
Unreal, good guy. I'll maybe send you some material for Danny, and maybe we'll have a story later about him. But yeah, unreal dude. Like, just we met through hockey, but best of friends.
Where's he from?
Nottingham.
Yeah. Well, it's fun hanging out with guys that are in the same shit as you. And then when you're officials and you go traveling together and you're all into it, it's like I was trying to like as you get older, like public school, there's a bunch of kids that really aren't into the same things you're into. And as you get older in life, eventually you then are a professional hockey player and all your friends are all into the same shit you're into, playing hockey, you know?
Exactly. He was way more fun when he didn't have a girlfriend, but now he does. So I don't see.
Well, might get trying when he's gone every weekend, right? So
I've given him too much credit now. So he's that guy. I don't even know him anymore. I haven't seen him in years.
Right. Well, you know, next season when he's gone every weekend, you know, be trying for them, and then you might get him back.
Huh? When he comes into the shed, will you ask him to give me a call?
Okay, I'll let him know. What else do I got? Questions here. You ever feel threatened by any players or coaches? Like, has anybody ever got right up in your grill? Spitting mad?
No, I can't. I've never felt threatened. The only time I've actually thought, I don't know, maybe this is threatened, but the only time I've actually probably stopped for a second and gone, oh fuck, was the Matt Nickerson incident in Guildford.
I remember him. He was very scary looking to play hockey against when he had a really big beard and he was very big.
Well, he was very scary to look at and officiate when he had a big beard. So we're in the same boat right now.
Right. I didn't really want to play against him.
But also a gentleman. He was also super good, dude.
Okay.
In my experience.
So what's the incident? I don't know what the incident is.
Oh, you don't know about this?
No, man. Research team didn't find this.
We need to fire them.
Yeah. Hard to fire volunteers.
He gets ejected from the game. And then, so he does like a lap and he's mad. And I'm still like, I don't want to get hold of this guy. I'm just hoping he goes to the change room peacefully. And then a fan comes down from the stands, just like right to the door he's coming off. And if I'm honest, I probably would have done the same as him. The guy's leant round the door, but obviously you're not thinking like this guy's just coming to chirp me. Like he's just run a distance to get there, right? So you're thinking if he's going to do something,
you got to protect yourself and be ready.
Just hammer fist the guy. Like,
right in the face? Hammer fist to the face?
Right in the kisser.
Pow right in the kisser.
I'm sure there's a Dobbs video out there if you want to research it.
So he played for Guildford or he was playing for who then?
He was playing for Milton Keynes at the time.
Okay. I remember, I think he was in Belfast when I played against him.
I think he played in Fife, Belfast, and Milton Keynes.
Right. Okay. So he punched the fan in the face and the fan probably bled a little bit and was a little upset.
No, I think the fan just ran off laughing. I don't really know what happened to him.
That's good.
It's more of a myth now.
I find it interesting when like sometimes players get put in positions where there's not much else could have happened, you know, and you know,
no doubt he should never have been in that situation. That guy should never have. I'm okay with saying it.
Right.
That there should never have been a possibility of that guy getting that close.
Right.
And the player should not have been in that position. Equally, the fan should not have been allowed to put himself in that position.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I saw the one with Cardiff this year, and I think it was Dundee, where the guy came running down the stairs, quickest feet I've ever seen, running down the stairs, but then he's running towards a team full of big hockey guys with sticks and helmets and full equipment. I don't know what he was thinking and where he was going so fast, because they were the fastest feet I've ever seen going down those stairs.
Yeah, that guy's 100% been doing a few days lather training, right? He's quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh God, he was quick. That guy would have ran. But yeah, I don't know where he was going so fast because I don't think it would have worked out well for him. You know? So, okay, you do know Chippy Lane. You're from Cardiff, right? You're not like Brody DuPont that doesn't even know what it is. And he's coaching Cardiff last year. Like, what a joke.
It's not okay if you're from, even you don't have to be from Cardiff, but if you live here temporarily, yeah.
If you're on the Cardiff Devils, you have to know what Chippy Lane is. And then, so after the recording there, he says, guys, come on, guys, what are you doing? You make me look ridiculous. So I don't know what Chippy Lane is. And I'm like, hey, man, that's on you. You're going to wear that.
Yeah, no one's making you look bad. You've done that to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They have tourist signs for Chippy Lane now.
Really?
But a
They
reach. Get yourself down there.
Well, yeah. I hope he makes it there. I hope he's a coach next year, and I hope he makes it down to Chippy Lane. Can't have a coach that's never been there. Unacceptable.
Well, I hope he gets there too.
So what do you
because
get?
if
What are you gonna order if you're there? What if you're going there tonight with Beresford there? What are you gonna get?
Well, I might not be with Beresford, but there's every chance I could be there tonight. We could be going live at 1 a.m.
It is Friday.
I'm thinking after a beer, probably after lots of beers, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go starters, kebab wrap, doner meat wrap.
Yeah, that's right.
And then after that, I'm going to go doner meat on chips. No problem.
What sauce?
A small bit of chili.
Chili.
That's
none of the garlic sauce, because it can make you quite thirsty, even if you've been drinking all night.
No garlic sauce, no salad.
No salad, eh?
No, we don't do salad here.
I try to mix a little bit in. I don't always want to, but I try to. Hey, I'm not good at it,
I respect it, but I'm not even starting with good intentions. I want nothing to do with salad.
Wow, when you're going to Chippy Lane, you got to go with the right attitude. You got to get in there. You got to run amok. You got to go to town, right? And then you get to sleep.
Exactly. You go in there, get your result, get your food, get out.
Yeah, that's Brody DuPont's never been there. Okay, so then you did Linesmen in the big blue tent and then to the new barn. Pretty different atmosphere, eh?
Oh, 100%, yeah. That blue tent for I probably only did a handful of games at Elite League there. Did a lot of junior and ENL. But I don't think I'll ever forget it was the last game at the big blue tent. Again, a late caller. Was on my way to a game in Basingstoke and got turned around to go there. And
I would have been getting spray painted naked to do a pregame speech.
We live different lives, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that atmosphere, I always remember it was unreal. Like the place just bounced. Like it didn't feel safe when you were in there. When it got going, like it could have fallen down at any time.
Well, and when we first started there, when the new owners first took over, like the start of that season, it was not full. It was half full. And then we started winning.
It wasn't half full. That's not like.
Yeah, but like it didn't take long. It took a month or two of us doing well and competing. And then we had the boys. We had a lot of guys that could fight. A lot of guys that could fight on that team. And they were fighting and they were hitting. And Joey Martin was scoring. And like we were running amok. And then all of a sudden the fans were back in that place for that next year until they shut her down. Was absolutely an electric factory.
Yeah, it was unreal. Just experiencing it probably the night that I actually first got on was probably experiencing it from the stands and then experiencing it from the ice. Like I genuinely feel very fortunate to experience that atmosphere because it was unique. And it's not me being a homer because there's probably tens or even hundreds of other guys who will agree with me that is a unique atmosphere that I'm not sure can be recreated.
Yeah, it was wild when there would be like 5 people deep standing right at the glass, and then the people above them that are right above you. It was wild. And then you'd be in the locker room and feet would be stomping. And you know, I just thought of this that season, and I never really talked about it. I don't think really anybody knows about it, but a kid from Waterloo, Ontario, who I guess his mother was one of the high school teachers at my school in high school. He came over to Cardiff and was doing his master's or some kind of videography class. He did a documentary on our team that year. There's a documentary about the Cardiff Devils 2014-15 that is out there, and it is very well done. I have it. It's in my email, but I don't ever know where he ever posted it, but it is really cool. And we talk about the big blue tent a lot in it. So small world stuff there. He was from Waterloo, comes to Cardiff, sees we're playing for the Cardiff Devils, and did his whole project on making a documentary about us.
Makes the Canadian link and then the big blue tent gives him some unreal material.
Yeah. So that
But
does
yeah,
exist,
you're right.
folks. People should find out about
I'm
that.
not sure there's another place. In fear of sounding like a homer, which I'm absolutely not. I'm not sure there's another place with that sort of atmosphere.
And
I haven't
the
seen
new place, like I know I've said this before, and they probably don't like when I say this. Maybe that's why they don't support me on Twitter or anything. But like the 5 feet of like glass to seats in the new barn where there's just room for people to walk around makes no sense when you're trying to make a hockey atmosphere. But I know the Devils didn't get to like do the plans, right?
Yeah, it was done before. I think that rink was actually designed through planning and everything else before.
Instead of having hockey players design it of what would be best.
Exactly. I think it's designed more as a utility arena. It's predominantly for ice hockey, but you could switch that to which they have for boxing events, darts, whatever.
Right.
You need to.
Guess you got to be versatile, right?
It's got to be viable as well, right? So it's got to make money as well as be.
It's just hard for me because I miss the big blue tent. I really do.
You get nostalgic right now.
Yeah, you know. Anyways. Okay. So you said you hurt your Achilles. One of my next questions then is Linesmen and refs get injured too, eh? So what all have you had go wrong with your body?
Touch wood, I've been very lucky. Very, very little. The odd bruise, and the Achilles is probably the worst in an officiating career, but I got, when I was playing beer league, being a stud, I got a puck chipped at me. Like after a whistle, the guy just flicks the puck straight in my face and just splits me from my nose to here, and it was just like flapping around.
And that's to play old timers.
Yeah, he was an old timer actually. So I probably did something wrong in the lead up. So I'm not sure it deserved the 20 odd stitches I needed, but
he meant to shoot the puck in your face after the whistle.
Yeah, 100%. And now one of my good friends, Stephen Matthews, he was the ref, and he's like, I didn't see shit.
What a guy. You still weren't a fighter after that?
I've never been a fighter.
Okay. I would have had a hard time not taking a clap bomb at the guy, slap shot.
I think I was on my hands and knees, probably with my face in my hands,
right,
looking for my mum.
Yeah. Okay. What else do I got? What you got? Any other games that really stick out as like memorable ones, or like was there any good line brawls you got involved in, like trying to break up multiple fights at once? I always was curious about linesmen and how they do that, because you watch some line brawls and you see like one guy really running amok with another guy, and you're like, geez, I hope somebody gets over there to help him out soon.
Realistically, when I came into hockey in a sort of semi-professional, professional level, it had pretty much gone, the line brawls and the stage fights and everything I've experienced, or most things, have been organic and have happened and are part of the game, not the sort of stage 2 heavyweights that like do this for 3 hours and then punch each other twice.
Well, the line brawls used to be organic too.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine they were orchestrated, but if I've never been involved in one with a line brawl or a bench clearance. I've been fortunate because,
and I thought maybe I'm weird, but like I miss that in hockey. I thought that was entertainment,
Oh, listen.
When else does the crowd all stand up and go absolutely mental? Maybe after a goal sometimes, but when people really get juiced up, it's when people drop the gloves and have at it.
Yeah, and there'll be lots of people. Maybe there's not lots of people who want to listen to me, but there'll be lots of people who listen to this podcast, and some of them will think that fighting is not part of hockey, but I'm one of the people who thinks fighting is firmly part of hockey. That is why I think.
If anybody wants to coach their team and tell their team that fighting shouldn't be part of hockey, I would love to play your team. If I was coaching in professional hockey, I think a fight can change a whole game, and letting a team know you own their ass is a big deal.
And you're 100% right, because if you're the big dog in the park, no one wants to answer the bell, so no one's going to do that cheap shit.
Yeah.
And
And I think that 2014-15 Devils team that had all the big boys, they weren't NHL big boys, but we had a lot of big boys. After that season, all the other teams were like, I think we got to get some more big boys.
yeah, I can't remember exactly who was in the league then. But
Bray had a big team too. It was them, us, and then Sheffield was good. Those were the three teams right at the top that year. But yeah, Cardiff, we were tough. Brayhead was tough. Yeah, it was tough league that year.
yeah, and I love a tough league as a linesman.
It's more exciting.
I've probably said it a couple of times that I don't want to get involved in that stuff. It's not that I don't want to get involved in it. Like, I'd rather let those guys figure out themselves, be there to facilitate it and just make sure they're okay and put them in the penalty box, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be diving in between two guys with their gloves on, like
Wrestling.
scratch each other's eyes out. Like, that's not okay.
No, it's not the way it's supposed to be.
On the side of the fence where fighting is still part of hockey. Hicksy might fire me for this.
No, Hicksy, you can't, because all the players agree.
We'll start a petition.
There might be some new wave players coming up that are like, we should get it out of the game, but that's because they don't want to fight. Nobody's asking you to fight, but a player on your team can change the game, change the momentum of a game by dropping his gloves and doing it.
And a player can also, he can change the momentum of a game. That can be a full swing through one fight, but also
it can bring teams together. It can do all sorts of things.
If Kevin Westgarth is playing on your team, you play a lot more free. There's no one that's going to want to take you out of the knees, because no one's going to answer the bell to that guy. So it also keeps guys safer.
It definitely does.
Is that a little bit caveman? Is that a bit old school? And do we need to move from it? I don't know, but it works right now.
I think it's the only way it works. And but then there's the other side of it, where if there's like little dudes, skilled dudes, maybe guys that don't drop the gloves, but then a situation happens and they step up and do it, it can bring teams together, because they're like, well, it's different things that happen in a season. It's not just fighting. It can be a big hit. It can be a guy that's not used to doing something, but when he goes out and does something hard to show the boys he's there for them, it changes teams and atmospheres, right?
Exactly. If you had a teammate that goes out there, gets the piss beaten out of him, you're going to think, I've got to be as willing as that guy, because he's just gone to the whole team.
He just stepped up for the boys.
Yeah, and it's the same with officiating. Like, you have to be as willing as the next guy, and you have to be as in and as competitive and as dialed in as that guy.
So when a game ends and you're an official, you guys have a good one or a bad one, how long are you in the room for after? Do you have a couple pints in the room before you leave? Are you guys on foam rollers and bikes like the hockey players now?
Yeah, so we do 3 kilometer run after a game, and then cool down stretch, and then we go and swim a kilometer just so we're ready for tomorrow.
For sure you do.
Absolute lie. We drink a beer, eat pizza.
Yeah.
And
just like the Cardiff Devils in 2014-15.
but yeah, no, we drink a beer, eat a pizza. Actually, Todd feeds us in Cardiff. Todd feeds us healthy meals now, which is not okay.
You said no salads. That's horse shit, Todd.
Yeah, I think I opened a meal the other day and I had broccoli, stuff like that, and I was not okay with that. I almost sent him a bill. But that, more people probably think, oh, you just after there, drinking a beer, eating a pizza, like, that's togetherness. That's us sat in a room, like, we're all sat there in our sweat.
And that's what it's all about, right?
And at those times we'll be talking about situation, or if in the game, or we'll talk about something, and if that conversation finishes, then we'll just talk about anything. But it's the four of us in that room, cooling off, just decompressing, getting ready to go for tomorrow. Some of those guys have got like 3 hours to drive home. They didn't have a beer.
And that's the other thing I find is, like, we talked about fighting, but staying in a room after a win or a loss, not running out of the room like a little bitch. it's important for hockey teams, whether you won or you lost, to be in there for the right amount of time, whether it's decompressing after a loss, whether it's celebrating a win. Leaving the room too early is being a punk.
Yeah, it's not okay. You're absolutely right. And I am probably, if I'm totally honest, slightly guilty of it. I do try and run home. But
Well,
you're right. Like those times
but people are
where
busy and you got real responsibilities now, you know?
well, most of my MO straight after a game is just get to bed, get ready for tomorrow, or just I want to get to bed so I can get up early to be with my kid for a few hours at least before we
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, I understand.
But 100% sat in a room together after beer, pizza, whatever it may be, like ripping on each other
It's
or talking.
important.
It's important, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What else do I got here? I don't even. Okay. What's your favorite, since you're from Cardiff, what's your favorite restaurant there? If you're going out to eat tonight, doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to, it can be whatever you want. Where would you go?
I'm probably gonna sound like a crowd pleaser here, but I'm a big kebab guy.
Not a crowd pleaser. You're a shed pleaser. That is just makes me hot and bothered. I never thought you were going to talk dirty to me today. Never thought you were that type of guy.
My wife's left now, so it's okay. We're good to go.
Okay, keep talking about it.
No, I'm a big kebab guy, so if I was just sitting in after a couple of beers, probably kebab.
Yeah.
If I was going out, somewhere in town. Anyway, it could be anywhere. I'm not too picky with restaurants, but
Okay.
kebab
Well,
I'm picky with. I have my one place.
I did get 3 boxes full of donair meat when I went to the grocery store last, and chicken gyro, kebab things, wraps, pretty excited what's in my freezers right now. Gonna run amok this weekend.
Let's get the frying pan out and go wild.
Yeah. And if I got a big mess, you know what I would do? If commercial cleaning, windows, all that stuff, is I'd call Red Dragon Group, get a free quote today. Right.
2 for 1.
Yeah. 2-for-1 deal in the shed, folks. Okay. Well, it's interesting to me. The more I've learned about hockey through coming out to my shed, though, is like I've had on in the shed, I've had a lot of players. I've had coaches. I've had GMs. I've had refs, linesmen. I've had equipment guys. I've had a VP of a team, but I also had a group of fans on. It takes a lot of folks to put on a hockey game on the weekends. It takes a lot of people that are passionate about hockey, but then also about the role that they're involved in, right?
100%. And everyone has a role, and it's important for absolutely everyone. Like I said earlier, we're all fans. I love hockey as much as you, as much as a fan, the VP, the equipment guy, the teammates, the owner, the guy selling the hot dogs, the guy selling the 50-50s. Like, that's, I talked about this on a podcast as well, is the most important thing, and the only one thing we have in common is our love for hockey.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's what makes this sport tick.
It does. And it takes everybody filling all those roles, or it just doesn't work right. And it is interesting more I talk about it, because I never really got refs or linesmen. I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that. But if you love hockey and your playing career maybe wasn't thriving when you're younger, you want to be part of the game. You want to be in it. And like, you guys step on the ice in Belfast in front of 8,000 fans. It's pretty cool, right?
Not even Belfast. Like, all arenas are different, because Belfast, sure, ton of fans, and they're loud and they're crazy, and it's a great community over there. But then Cardiff, like 3,000, that can be loud. You go to Nottingham, if they get enough fans in there, that can be loud. Sheffield's loud. Like, all these places are just unique, and they're all, I don't want to get too cliche or saying the right things, but they are genuinely all a joy to go to at the right time.
Yeah. And but that's what makes the UK league so much fun, is that there's big rinks, there's small rinks, there's everything. And there's the meanie weenie fans in Fife that'll yell at you and say mean things that might hurt your feelings. But every town's a little bit different, and their fans are a little bit different, right?
Exactly. And that is the beauty of it. We're absolutely different, and we probably punch above our weight in classification and rank. I genuinely don't believe we get as much respect as we should.
I know you don't. I know that the hockey in the UK, the level of what it's at, the reffing what it's at, is so under, I don't know what, appreciated in the hockey world. Like playing in Germany has its perks for things, but it's hard to put a price on being able to communicate with your fans, communicate with the refs and linesmen. And there's also the culture, or there used to be, I'm sure now it's changed. There's healthy meals and protein shakes, but there's the culture of like, we're all going to go out and put on this game and this show. But then once that's over, people may fight. Team's going to win or lose, but we're all going to go have a beer before you guys get on your bus and we go home, and the refs would come out, the linesmen would come out, and we'd all have a beer at the big blue tent,
100%. And I think maybe it's gotten away from that slightly where everyone drinks a beer.
Yeah.
But
Got to get the edge the next day, right?
Yeah, you got to get that extra 20 minutes rest.
Yeah.
But there's also still a good ethos of team and inclusive.
Yeah.
And, for fans as well, where players are accessible, I think that's a big thing in ice hockey. You don't see it in football or rugby where you can just access the players so readily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sure anyone wants to access the refs or the linesmen, but they are too. So I think that's a huge part, and you've still got that culture, and I think that's what will take the sport forward here.
Yeah, I agree. I found it way more fun to be able to communicate with fans and like not be sheltered from them, right? Like some leagues will keep the players away from fans to not bother them or whatever. But then I've found it very interesting when if we lost 7-0, this was what Todd said to us when we first got to Cardiff. He's like, we got to get back out there with our fans because it had struggled before the owners took over. But he says, we got to get out there, whether we win 7-0 or lose 7-0. He wants us to go out and put our face in front of the people and talk with them. And I was totally fine with it. If we lose 7-0, let's have a beer and talk about how brutal we were. If we won 7-0, I'm totally fine with celebrating about and having a beer with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
a little more accountability when you got to show your face in front of them,
Well, accountability, but I also think that is what draws fans to hockey, where you can access a player and have a beer with him and
right,
and spark up a friendship. And lots of people get a buzz out of seeing their kid with a hockey player, having a conversation or a photo or whatever it may be.
Well, it means a lot to the kids.
Exactly, 100%. Every time I come off on a period break, I try and give a kid a puck. It probably costs each club that I waste a puck from £1.
Right.
But that kid, it makes his night. Right?
It does, and it makes him want to come back the next week.
Well, I think I should get a share. If I'm selling tickets, then I should be on some sort of profit share.
I agree. Hey,
well,
I agree.
That's another thing we need to start now.
Well, we're trying to figure out how to get paid in the shed. We don't know what to do. Just gonna keep doing it because it's fun, folks.
It's good fun.
But I am having a golf tournament June 25th right here around the corner by the most beautiful beach in Ontario at Ainsdale Golf Course. June 25th, folks. I need 5 to 6 more groups to fill 18 holes. So please don't embarrass me and sign up a foursome if you live around here or can make it, because it is like one of the nicest places in Canada where we live here. And we're going to go golfing. There's also a beach for before and after, folks, and a live band. Register at EIHLHockeyTales.com. And you can also buy clothes and shit there too, right? At the online store. Right?
There you go. If you get involved in anything this summer, it's got to be that golf tournament.
June 25th.
I was sold a beach before and after.
The beach is literally like the nicest beach in Ontario, and people can argue that all they want with me. I'll send some photos. It's right here, and the golf course is right down the road, folks. Come get some in the summer. It's going to be nice and warm. Bring a cooler and a good attitude.
Bring a cold 8-pack and however many clubs you want. Just sign up.
Sign up at EIHLHockeyTales.com. Well, do you got anything for me before we shut her down?
No, I've nothing. Just I genuinely think this podcast is unreal, and I don't want to tell too many lies. I didn't listen. I have listened. I didn't listen a crazy amount before you asked me to come on, but I did a lot of research. Listened to Tom Darnell. tough act to follow,
Mm.
and a few others. Keep doing it, man. This is unreal. I love talking hockey. I love listening to hockey, and thanks for having me on.
No, it's yeah, I'm sure everybody could tell I really like doing it. It's like catching up with you today, man. If I don't start this, we probably never see each other again. And we definitely don't get to know each other like we have today, because it was, we'd shoot the shit briefly in Cardiff. You'd go out and you were linesman half cut, which I respected the hell out of it. So cheers. And this has been another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Onesie and Wally.